Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How's everyone doing? Let's get started. Do you want to say hello?
Yes. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. In true show fashion.
Exactly. Welcome to this webinar on policy, AdSense policies, protecting our digital advertising ecosystem. And let's just get started with this. So before we jump in, a bit of housekeeping. Everyone knows, or some of you might know, that we're still working from home a year later. So what can happen while one works from home? We can have internet outages, we can have power outages, hopefully not. We can have the postman or postwoman buzzing the door, which is something I tend to get quite often. They always pick the right time. So bear with us. We're here, and if something goes on, we'll just take it as it comes. And this webinar is going to be recorded, and it will be available to you after you submit your How is this, Chris? You have to first submit your answers of the survey, and then you can access the recording. Was that, what you told us? Something like that. And yeah, so please fill out the survey. And yeah, also, we're not going to take live questions today, but we have collected the questions that you asked when you registered for this webinar. So we will address them there. So thank you so much, first of all, for asking so many questions. It's great to know that you have policy questions. So that's why we're here. And now let's just introduce ourselves.
Nice to meet you all. My name is Chris Jones. I've been with Google about 7+ years, and I work in the trust and safety policy transparency, specifically focused on AdSense, AdMob, and Ad Manager policies.
And I'm Aurora. I've been in Google for almost 6 years now, and I work with Chris, basically educating publishers on policies and restrictions. So it's all about transparency.
Yes.
This is going to be the agenda for today. So we're going to start talking about balancing the needs of the digital advertising ecosystem. Then we'll talk about the importance of policy. We'll give you some key policy updates. There's a lot of questions about that, so you'll be able to get some information there. We'll discuss some top policies for you all to look out for, and we'll finish with the Q&A.
Yeah, but first, before we get into all of that, today we're going to go over why we have policies, kind of how we protect our network as a whole. We'll go over some common violations that we do see across, especially in EMEA and beyond, and then what to do if you have a policy violation, what's some of the best practices to get out there. So let's jump into it. We may, as you kind of heard, we are part of Google, and we're part of the trust and safety team. So what is the trust and safety team? Google's trust and safety team exists to kind of create and enforce policies. We work with our product teams to kind of inform product excellence regarding best practices around policy. We identify abuse patterns, and as a whole, kind of just increase the safety and trust throughout the digital advertising ecosystem across both users, advertisers, and publishers. To us, success really looks like a positive user experience that results in happy advertisers, that overall results in publisher revenue growth. So it's very much just that wheel. So a good user experience equals happy advertisers equals more revenue for you publishers. Aurora.
In all of this, the balance is really complicated. So in order to be successful, we as Google, we need to be good at balancing the needs of the publishers, of the advertisers, and the users. And how do we do this? We do this through enforcement. So sometimes advertisers may think that we're not going far enough with our policies. And sometimes publishers think, you might all think, that we as Google, we're going too far. So when we create these policies, we must keep the needs of the entire industry and ecosystem in mind. So as trust and safety, we're constantly reviewing the policies and their enforcement to be fair and thorough, and while being mindful of societal changes. So as society changes throughout the years, we try to adapt our policies and enforcements to whatever is going on in the world. So with content policies, we try to strengthen controls on what content publishers can monetize. And initially, publishers can think that we're punishing them while benefiting advertisers. But it's important for the well-being and the balance of our industry. In order to do this, we have a team of many people. We have a combination of people and automated systems, because we want to get it right. Like, the foundation all of this is trust. And to build trust, we have to have a network free of invalid traffic and invalid actions and bad actors. So as I was saying, we use this combination of human reviewers and automated reviewers to provide scalable automated defenses to continuously identify, clean, and defend our ad systems. And trust and safety includes a very diverse set of people. So on our teams, we can find data scientists, engineers, subject matter experts. I myself, I studied journalism. So like we're a very varied and diverse set of people. And we've been doing this job for many years. So we've learned a lot, and we've built systems that are based in these learnings. And each time a new application comes in, we review it. And not only we review new applications, but we are constantly checking all the content from all publishers all the time to ensure that these policies are being properly enforced and that the content is aligned with our program policies. And now to Chris with some key policy updates.
Thanks, Aura. So yeah, what I want to kind of go through here is one of the biggest policy updates we've made in the last kind of 12 to 18 months, which is the introduction of Google Publisher policies and Google Publisher restrictions. So what we did here was, back in September 2019, we made the conscious effort to align our content policies across our all our sell-side products. So that's AdSense, AdMob, and Google Ad Manager. So what we did was modified the policies for the content across these three products to make them simpler, to align them across. So it's the same policy for content across the three of them. And that's a way to kind of start thinking of them as a cohesive unit. Additionally, beyond that, we also kind of decided, well, not everything should be a policy violation. Some things should be maybe just a restriction. So with these Google Publisher restrictions, we decided that it would no longer be an account termination risk for a policy violation of these restrictions. Instead, we would just limit the demand sources. If we go on to the next slide, what this kind of began to mean was that as a way to protect our ad ecosystem, we created these two subsets. So you have very much the Google Publisher policy, a single common bar for all our products that outlines what Google will allow to be monetized, or actually in this case, will not allow to be monetized. And from a larger perspective, this includes mediation, reservations, programmatic guarantees, etc. Then we outlined Google Publisher restrictions. And what with this, it was very much a way to go, well, actually, this is no longer a policy violation. We will allow you to attempt to monetize this, but it will see a restricted demand from the buy-side sources. If we go into further detail of these, we started to outline the actual individual content pieces. So with Google Publisher policy, we outlined what we will monetize across any of our publisher products, and this includes legal content, dangerous derogatory content such as hate speech, sexually explicit content, malicious and unwanted software, misrepresentative content, for example. But then we said, okay, so those are the policies. We will never allow you to monetize at all. Well, what are we going to allow to be monetized, but we just don't want? Advertisers have told us they don't want this demand. Some might, but they don't want it. So Google publisher restrictions, tobacco, recreational drugs, they don't violate a policy, but they're not appealing, as I said, for all advertisers. So we essentially went sexual content, shocking content, tobacco, as I said, and we said, okay, this is a restriction. You will more likely receive less demand or less advertising, I should say, and then sometimes no advertising at all when it comes to these. So you're going to ask me, where can I see this full list? Well, across every help center, we have these for you. Google Publisher Policies page and a Google Publisher Restriction page, fully outlined with definitions, examples, and it's clear. That's the key thing. These are clearly marked, what we allow, what we don't allow, etc. Then if you go in further, we actually want to make sure that you are up to date with our policies and as they change, because our policies are evolutional. They are iterative changes because we change our policies with societal changes, with as the world evolves, as we evolve, as our products evolve, as publishers and this digital advertising ecosystem evolves. We want to make sure that these policies stay in line. So we do change this. Now, I will say the onus is on you, the publisher, to ensure that you adhere to our policies. So I highly recommend, maybe just put a reminder in your calendar. Once a month, go to the Google Publisher or Google Publisher changelogs, in this case, AdSense changelog, Ad Manager, Ad Mob, depending on where you are, and just check these changelogs. And this will keep you abreast of the most up-to-date policy changes. And that's where we announce them, so you will always know. So just once a month, quick 30-second check. Is there a change? No? Okay, cool, moving on. Then, let's talk about some recent changes. One of the biggest ones recently, and you can find a lot of details, is on the compensated sexual acts and adult content. So essentially what we did was in February 2021, our Google Publisher policy was updated for compensated sexual acts. And this means content that can be interpreted as a sexual act in exchange for compensation will become its own category. This examples of this was prostitution, companionship, escort services, intimate massage, cuddling sites, and this was clearly prohibited. Now, we expanded the actual, the prohibited examples of this in that sexual arrangement where one participant is expected to provide money, gifts, financial support, mentorship, or any other valuable benefits to another participant, in this case, sugar dating or anything like that, was fully illegal. Well, not necessarily illegal, it was fully policy violating. So we made sure that this was a completely against the rules, but it was clearly marked and labeled. That's the thing. All of our policies are clearly marked and labeled on our help center for you guys to understand. Now, if you have questions, sure, and you want to know what works and what doesn't work, we have a fantastic video on our YouTube channel, Google AdSense YouTube, and it's clearly defined there, but it's also defined in, as I said, the help center. Now, an upcoming change we want to make you aware of that comes into effect very soon is the misrepresented content policy. So our Google Publisher policy for misrep essentially was updated to better organize these topics. So again, it's the thing, it's iterative, it's evolutional. We change with the times to make, and also we sometimes change it just for readability. We sometimes change it for just for the explainability, for you guys to understand what we are saying, to make it easier. So we essentially listed, we created new kind of subcategories of this. So that's the best way I can say. It's kind of just new, easier to define subcategories. But we also, two previous policies that were under misrep, under dangerous and derogatory content moved into misrep. And these were content promoting harmful health claims, and content that relates to a current major health crisis or contradicts authoritative scientific consensus. These were moved from dangerous or derogatory content into the new unreliable claim section of misrepresented content. So these were, again, changes just to essentially, they still were always Google publisher policies. They will remain Google publisher policies, but they were done just to basically improve the readability, the understanding for you as publishers of these policies. So there you go. I think as time, we'll also move over to some kind of key top policies that you as publishers in EMEA, in APAC, in North America should look out for across our AdSense product. Aurora.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, these are some policies that we get a lot of questions around, and we get a lot of complaints. First of all, the replicated content policy. As a guiding rule, Google Ads cannot be placed on pages that infringe on copyrighted materials. So basically, don't try to monetize content that isn't yours or that you don't have permission to use. And when I say permission, I mean explicit and clear permission from the author of certain content. So content that is replicated from other reputable sites, many times is taken on the assumption that, well, it's going to bring great traffic or it's a great long-term strategy for my website. But it's not, it really isn't. Like, we will not let you monetize content that is not yours. Also, something that is really important that you think is, am I really providing value with whatever content I'm putting out there? Think of your users. Are my users going to really want to consume or to check out this content that I'm putting out there? What value are you adding if you're simply scraping or duplicating content from other websites? It doesn't make much sense. It's not a great experience for users. It's not good for advertisers either. They won't want to place ads on pages that are violating our policies. And for you, it will mean that your content will be demonetized. So it's really important that you take this policy seriously. Secondly, content that enables dishonest behavior. This policy is essentially, it comes to tell you that Google Ads will not be, may not be placed on sites that promote content that enables dishonest behavior. What does this mean? Well, pages that promote forms of hacking or cracking sites, or how to create fake documents, fake official documents, like the picture you're seeing on this slide, sale or distribution of term papers or paper writing or exam taking services, or information or products on how to pass drug tests, or content that promotes fraudulent activity in any way. So anything that is illegal activity, dishonest behavior, this is content that we will not allow Google Ads to be placed against. So bear in mind this is, it's really important. I mean, for many it's just it's common sense, but it's important that everybody knows that we will not allow, for example, sites that say how to hack into somebody else's account. We can't allow Google Ads to be placed alongside that content. And
yes, user-generated content, the difficult one for everyone. So a lot of you will have a comment section in your website, where you will have some form of, be it a forum, or if you have a way for the user themselves to comment, to generate content for you, then submit, essentially, submit content independent of an editorial process that you control, guide. Then very much the onus is on you. This is a difficult one, because as a publisher, you are responsible for all content and all on your site where ad code appears. So this is the thing: user-generated content needs to adhere to our policies, be it a restriction or the Google Publisher Policy itself. So, for example, not you may be the most polite, well-mannered editorial editor or content provider, content creator on the web. Unfortunately, not all users are. So while your content may be completely safe and non-violating, your comment section may actually, for example, be violating. And this is where it becomes a problem. So I strongly usually suggest that you have a moderated content section, or that you yourselves monitored. So they can post with impunity, but you need to monitor all comments that come through for dangerous geography content, such as hate speech, for misrepresentative content, for enabling dishonest behavior. Essentially ensuring that any dynamic content or user-generated content adheres to our policies at all times. Because what you really don't want is a fantastic piece of content that you created, that you poured your soul into, your heart into, that you created this fantastic article, and it's generating revenue for you. And then because of one lone commenter that has kind of put a piece of hate speech on your in a comment under your content, that content can no longer be monetized. So very much so, it is, in order to participate within our network, ensure that any content, be it user generated or your own, complies with our program policies.
Exactly. And one of the thing is there's a lot of potential for comment spam, and we've seen it in many forms, and many times you can't even control it. And something that we can even recommend is that you place a call to action on your site, and you say you can check the comments or participate in the conversation here, and you place that content somewhere else with no ad code. So that's another best practice that we can recommend, as the comments won't really affect as much the content that you're trying to monetize. I don't know if you remember, Chris, I created a video recently on the series Sustainable Monetized Websites with the superhero Martin Splitt, where we explain a bit what user-generated content is and what best practices we have, both on the organic side of things and the monetized side of things, which many times are the same thing or fall under the same person, I better say. And it's just really important that you take into consideration those two angles, because they can really harm your monetization strategy if you don't take real good care in monitoring this.
Now, Aurora, where can people find those videos?
Oh, that's a fantastic question, Chris. Yeah, I'll talk about resources later on, but now that you're asking me, I can't not answer. No. So Sustainable Monetized Websites is a series that can be checked out on the Search Central YouTube channel and the AdSense YouTube channel. So whatever you get your updates, that's a channel. Those are channels you can subscribe to and check out the series, because there's episodes on thin content, on traffic, on tools. So definitely check that out. You'll see me divided into 3 personalities.
Luckily, we only have one here right now. So,
thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Speaking of that, we'll move on to probably the next key section.
Let's move on to the policy center. So we get a lot of questions on what to do when I get these flags or these policy violation messages. Well, first of all, you have to go to the policy center. Basically, this is your single destination, and you'll get all the messaging there. You get notifications. You'll be able to know to distinguish what issues to fix, and then you'll know what next steps to take in order to submit a review request. And what are the steps when requesting a review? Well, first of all, you have to understand the violation. You have to visit the help center, review our policies, view our videos, seek advice on our community, the AdSense, AdMob, Ad Manager forums. Check those out and make sure you really, really understand what's going on your website. Check your entire site. Many times with each notification, you will receive examples of the violation, but the same violation can be present throughout the whole website in different places. Or there might even be different types of violations. So make sure you make a thorough check of your website. I can't insist enough. And then once you fix the violations, tell us what changes you will make in the future. So in the appeal, acknowledge that you understand the issue and illustrate what you have done and what have you done to prevent this from occurring again. And also, of course, submit the URLs of the pages where you've made those changes. And finally, you have to understand, as I said at the beginning, understand the big picture. Keep in mind that our policies are designed to protect the whole ecosystem. It means that even though sometimes you might not agree necessarily with the decision made on your site, we are trying to balance, as I mentioned before, we're trying to balance the needs of users, advertisers, and publishers alike. And this is, and the reason why you might have gotten a policy violation means that you have to look there. There might be a bigger reason for it. And yeah, now I don't know if Chris wants to add anything to this part.
No, I'm all good. You covered all of it. And I think that's key best thing is the understanding that key big picture. So understanding that when you created when there has been a policy violation found, that you're like, oh, no, okay, we accept it, we understand it, and we're going to move on past that. Because everyone makes mistakes, but growing and being the bigger person, showing that you're able to go, okay, we made a mistake, something happened again, like we're good, let's move past. That is the key aspect in life and in website monetization.
Well said. And now I'm going to go through some resources that, as a team, our team produces, and then other teams within Google produce too for you. So make a note of what I'm going to say. There's a lot of stuff for you to bookmark. So first of all, the Help Center. As Chris said before, there's AdSense, Ad Manager, AdMob Help Center. So whatever your heart is right now, make sure you're bookmarking those help centers, because that's where you will get all the information on all of the different aspects of the product. Secondly, the help communities. These are communities formed by experts, product experts that are in the industry, so they understand these products really, really well. I myself was a community manager a few years ago, and I know how amazing these communities are. And you will be able to go in there, search for questions that have been asked before, participate in the conversation, ask new questions. So by all means, this is a very good resource, and you can find the communities within the Help Center under the tab of community. There's also communities by language. So whatever language you speak, you probably will find a community there for you. Thirdly, policy videos on YouTube. So my team has been working really, really, really hard in providing policy videos for you all, because many times, like, reading through Help Center articles might be challenging, or you might not understand the language as well. So watching videos can be also a good way of learning about our policies. So by all means, bookmark the AdSense and AdMob YouTube channels, because that's where we're posting all of our policy content all the time. Also, we have blogs. So that's where we will post the updates. I'm currently preparing a blog post right now. So that's where, if we're doing something, we're launching something big, we will be writing updates there. And finally, as I was mentioning, the Policy Center. So there you will find step-by-step instructions on how to resolve policy issues and request reviews. And here are some examples of the video content that we have out there. So I was mentioning the Sustainable Monetized Websites series that is available to you on the Search Central channel and the AdSense channel, YouTube channels. And this will be useful if you are the person monetizing the content that you're also creating or managing. If you're a one-person show, that's a series that can be useful to you in order to know what to be in the lookout for. We also have, you see the photo there of Chris, we also have the policy playlists. We have them on the AdWork channel and on the AdSense YouTube channel. And there we explain policy by policy and restriction by restriction, what things to bear in mind, depending on the policy or restriction. And we keep updating the videos as the policies update. So stay tuned. We're currently preparing new video content there. There's also a policy series that I didn't include there, because most of the people on this call already are included in the AdSense program. But if you know of new publishers who want to try to get into AdSense and are either struggling or they haven't tried yet, I have also created a YouTube series called the Google AdSense Approvals series. And this is basically for anybody who wants to start to monetize their content with Google AdSense. And on a policy perspective, of course, my team, we always have this policy angle. And with this, we want to say thank you for listening. I hope everybody is holding on wherever you are. You haven't fallen asleep or anything. We have been asked to remind you to please fill out the survey. It's really important that you do this while it's fresh, while you still remember our faces. And we're going to go now with the Q&A.
Yes. You have the questions, we have the answers.
We hope to, anyway. So before we start answering your questions, there's something really important that Chris and I want you to understand. And this is, we are the policy transparency team. What does this mean? We answer questions about policies. What we cannot do is answer product or particular questions on AdSense or program optimization. This is not what we do. And for that, there's plenty of resources that you can go to. I named them before. It's the Help Center, the communities. Chris, any other resources?
Yeah, YouTube is one of your best. So if you want to know about ad formats, mediation, etc., YouTube on the AdSense YouTube channel is one of the best. But additionally, where you are now, on the AdSense On Air, down the bottom, there is additional program and additional videos on demand, where once you filled in the surveys, you can very much just jump in and they'll have stuff on best formats to optimize auto ads, things like that. But it's as Adora says, our angle is policy, keeping you compliant, making sure we can help you with some of those best practices. We don't really get into the eCPMs, the auto ads, etc. But hopefully these areas, these additional resources will help you. But the blog, the help center, the communities, the YouTube, places you go for policy are also additionally best practice places to go for overall just best practices and information.
Exactly. So from that, we've taken questions that are relevant to our world, and we will answer them here.
Yeah.
So let's start. The first question is, how do copyright infringement reports work, and what can a publisher do when their page is removed by a wrongful DMCA notification? Okay, this question has some parts. First of all, as I was saying before, make sure that whatever you publish and monetize is yours, or you have the right to publish it. If this is not the case, then we can't even begin to have this conversation. So if for whatever reason you get a copyright infringement report, that means that somebody has reported you for using their content without permission. you can go to our troubleshooter, and the link, which I saved, is here, is g.co/legal. And I'm going to say that again. It's g.co/legal. Basically, when it's the legal site. And so when you get that, you have to fill out your request. Sorry, I lost a window. Here we are. I'm back. Okay, so go there and make sure that you understand all of the legal requirements behind a copyright infringement. Secondly, what can a publisher do when their page is removed by a wrongful DMCA notification? Now, first of all, what is a DMCA notification? A DMCA notification is a Digital Millennium Copyright Act copyright law. It's from the US, but there's other copyright laws elsewhere in the world. So DMCA / global policy, global copyright law. When you get a wrongful removal, or you think that your content has been delisted for no reason, then you can file a counter notification. What is a counter notification? It's this form by which you say, no, actually this is wrong, and you have to prove why. And the person that has reported you has to prove within 10 to 14 days that they're taking legal action against that content that you're trying to keep up online. So it's a legal process, and bear in mind that in this process, Google is not the main actor. We are not taking decisions. We are simply complying with global copyright laws.
Yeah.
It's really important that you understand this, because many times we get requests like, why doesn't Google do anything for me? We are trying our best to understand both parties. It's not always easy to know who is rightful in a case. But at the end of the day, if this cannot be solved by a notification of copyright infringement and a counter notification, this will have to go offline, and it will have to be taken by attorneys into court. So this is something that is really important that you all understand. And let me add just a little here. Stay tuned for a little episode on sustainable monetized websites. Just golden nugget there.
Yeah, it's coming soon.
It's coming.
Okay, on to the next question. So I'll take this one. Why does Google continue to send policy violation emails when the offending article and links has long been deleted years ago? Okay, so this could be a multitude of things. And I suppose one of the best things I can say to you is make sure it's actually the offending article is deleted. Like, when you say it's deleted, have you removed it from your ads.txt? Have you removed it from the overall CMS? Like, what do you mean by deleted? So one of the key things is, okay, if it is still getting a policy violation, go into the policy center and appeal it and go, I'm appealing this because this is no longer here. Like, this content is not here. There's multitude of ways you can essentially remove a policy violation. You can remove the ad code. That is one way. The better way, in my opinion, and obviously probably yours and everyone else's, is to fix the policy violation problem itself. So if it is offending content, if it is behavioral issues, ad implementations, fix those, and then you're golden. The other option then as well is, if this content is not here, then just go in and appeal and go, this content no longer exists. I have removed it. So that is another way. The one thing I strongly recommend not to do is to go in and just delete all the content, because what you then get, and leave the ads. Because if you go in, you leave the ads, delete the content, you're going to get a different policy violation, which is no content policy violation. So please go in, and if you're going to do it, fix the content or remove the ads, or just appeal and say this content is no longer here and the ad units are no longer there. So that is the one thing we would suggest for you to do. Okay, next question. Okay, policy violations always come as a surprise to me and my contacts. I have done nothing wrong, but I keep getting policy violation notices. What can I do to fix policy violations? Aurora, do you want to jump in on this one?
There's a lot here.
Yeah.
I think we have to take this question in parts. Okay. So first of all, when you receive a policy notification, go to your policy center and understand what's going on. Simply understand why you have received, what is it that you're receiving, and find where that is on your website. I don't know, many times it could be something on you, it could be something on someone else that is happening on your website. But you have to be, at the end of the day, as Chris was saying, with user-generated content, the site is your site. You're the publisher and you're responsible with whatever is going on your website. So understand what's going on. That would be the first step. Chris?
Yep. Yeah, and then additionally making sure so the examples within the policy center, the URLs we give you, which is usually just an example URL. The onus is on you additionally to go on and ensure that your whole site is policy violation free. So when you're saying it's coming as a surprise to you, but that could literally be because you're fixing one and then not fixing the rest of the issues. So then it comes up again, and then comes up again, and comes up again. So make sure before you appeal, as you fix the problem across one, that it's fixed across your whole site, across all your properties. So that way it's not coming as a surprise. That way it's one and done. It's fixed. It's no longer a problem. And yeah, that additionally, beyond that, if you're having issues fixing it and you're not sure how to fix it, and the issue keeps coming up, speak to other people. Speak to the support. Speak to the community. Find out how you can fix this as a whole, and that's one thing I would suggest.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Next question.
What are the policy requirements for new AdSense account applications? I think I need to. How did you say it before, Chris?
Pimp your video.
Yes, that's what I need to do. As I was saying before, I created this video series on AdSense site approvals on the policy perspective, and exactly for that reason, so that you understand what are the policy requirements. More than requirements, it's best practices to get your site ready for approvals on the policy monetization side of the table. So by all means, go to the YouTube AdSense channel and check out the episodes. Right now there's 5. There's still one more to come. I'm saying a lot of things here. But yeah, essentially, the policy requirements to get approvals for AdSense are not very different from the actual AdSense program policies, because it does make sense that your site has to have already all of those good things applied before getting into the program. Once you're there, you have to keep them up. So ensure that, I don't know, you have good navigation, ensure that you have quality content, ensure that you have proven that it's you, no? Your identity has been proved properly, that you're not, I don't know, Chris, jump in.
No, but that's essentially it. So the onus, when the rules that we have in place for when you are an AdSense publisher, these program policies, the Google publisher restrictions, the Google publisher policies, those are the blueprint. Those are the things you must adhere to as a publisher. So if you coming into the network can ensure that you are already meeting all of those policy requirements, then you are in a better place. Like, you will more than likely get through. But make sure you have content. Make sure it's not still under construction. Make sure that the content doesn't violate anything. Make sure the implementation, the ad units doesn't have deceptive navigation, that you don't have accidental clicks, or you're not encouraging accidental clicks. Things like that. Very much make sure your properties are policy compliant. Pretty simple there.
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah. So
next question. I don't know if we have more questions. I think this one looks like a question that you're going to take, Chris.
Yeah, I thought so. What are best practices for publishers around invalid traffic? So just want to very quickly put this out, that we do not typically kind of talk about invalid traffic and things like that. We got a lot of questions submitted around invalid traffic from you guys as publishers. So we said, rather than just saying no comment and we can't talk about this, we've gone out and spoken to a few people. So first things first, there is a site called the Google Ad Traffic Quality site. Go into google.com or google.e.co.uk, wherever your domain is, go to Google and search for Google Ad Traffic Quality site, and you will see the site there. That is a site for advertisers and for publishers, specifically around invalid traffic, suspicious traffic, and ad fraud and things like that. That will give you some best practices, some tips, things like that. Beyond that, okay, let's talk about it. So what are some best practices to avoid or prevent invalid traffic? So while we have strong systems in place to detect invalid traffic and ad fraud, it's equally important that you, as publishers, regularly review your traffic and your implementations. That's one of the key things. You review your implementations to ensure that you're not essentially encouraging accidental clicks or any kind of invalid traffic clicks. If you're an AdSense publisher, we encourage you to read our beginner's guide for AdSense policies, as well as following all our policies, our terms and conditions, and things like that. If any of you have become an ad manager publisher, we also have platform policies in addition to the restrictions and the Google publisher policies. So that's one thing. Now, beyond that, what are some of the other things? Well, understand your traffic. So break down your traffic by site visitors, segments, channels, sources, pixels. So really dive in through Google Analytics or your analytics program and understand where your traffic's coming from, who is your traffic. That can help you identify any suspicious traffic or suspicious users. Paramount, don't click your own ads. Even if you're interested in, oh, that's a cool ad, don't click on it on your site, because that is against our rules. Even if you're looking at this destination URL and you want to click in, just don't. If you want to do this, use the Google Publisher toolbar, which is described in the Ad Traffic Quality site. Be careful when purchasing any traffic at all. That is very paramount. Make sure that you review the traffic provider checklists, that you know who they are, what traffic they're sending you, that it's all above board, it's all paramount, it's good. Then double check your implementation. I've talked about this very quickly. Make sure that essentially you have no deceptive navigation, that your ad units are in the correct place, that you have the banners where you have banners, your stickies are your stickies, your floats, your videos. It's all above board, it's all well implemented, and it adheres to our policies. That's one of the key things. Because as I said, for an ad placement policies, encouraging any form of accidental clicks is against our rules. And it's accidental. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it's not you guys doing it being deceptive. We understand that. It can be a mistake. So that's why we say double check. Make sure that you are make sure that you are ensuring that your policy, that your placements are correct, that they're well done, that there's no issues with the ad code, etc. And that's really it. Like, we can't give you more because, again, it doesn't really sit with us. but one of the best places, and it has multiple steps, it has videos, it has everything. The Google ad traffic quality site. That is one of your best places to go.
Google ad quality site. I'm bookmarking that one, Chris.
Good. You should have a bookmark before, but we'll leave that alone.
I might double bookmark it.
Yeah, that's better.
I think we're going now to the last question. How do I get personalized guidance on policy issues?
So, the best way we can say personalized guidance, that depends. And I think the kind of core thing here is everything in the policy center is personalized to you because it is your policy issue. So when you receive a publisher policy violation or a Google publisher restriction violation, we tell you in there what the problem is, and more, we tell you how to fix it. So that is one of the key things. I think that's the best thing I can say. What about you, or any other things out there?
I am going to be the bad cop because you said the nice thing, so I need to say the bad thing, as in not the bad thing, but we cannot provide personalized guidance, as in, unfortunately, aside from all of the information that we already give you on the policy center, we can't go to you. We don't have access to your account. We don't know what's going on. So this is the place where you're going to receive this information. Other than that, we are constantly trying to review our content, the stuff that we put out there. So Chris works on a lot of articles on the help center. I mean, I'm talking for you, Chris, but I think they're pretty cool.
That's true.
I'm constantly producing new video content for all of you to view and to understand really what is going on with policy on AdSense and AdMob and Ad Manager. And we have the forums. Like these are the resources. And yeah, I understand that many times you might think that there's nobody listening, but we're constantly listening to you. We're constantly understanding and bringing back that information to our teams.
Yeah, and that's a key thing. We here. The reason we're doing this webinar is to understand the questions, to get that information out there, to help demystify our policies for you. So yeah, that's the thing. If you have problems, basically go to these resources, use these resources, respond to these resources. There is a survey here. Tell us what you want. What do you want to hear next? All of those things, because your feedback is important to us so that we can understand how to better to serve you. Because as we said, it's all about that wheel, that balance, serving the advertiser, serving the user, and then growing your revenue, serving you guys.
Yeah, so exactly. Couldn't say it better.
It's almost like I practiced it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here with us. We appreciate your time. We hope to do this again. Please make sure to fill out the survey, telling your feedback, what you liked, what you disliked, any other things you want to see. From myself, it was a pleasure to be here. Aurora, pleasure.
Oh, no, it wasn't. No, it was. I absolutely love it. And I really value that you're all joining from wherever you're joining, and you're taking the time to understand the world of policy. So thanks for that, and stay with us. Follow us wherever we are, and we'll be back.
Yep. Okay, guys, thank you so much.